Hello! In this lesson we're going to learn another construction number 5. How to construct a line that is parallel to a given line which passes through a given point. Like with construction 4, there are also 3 methods of doing construction 5, using a set square, using a protractor and using a compass. For the junior cert, you will be required to use the set square and the protractor method. So this is what the question will look like. You will have been given a line, and we know that this is a line because of the use of the lowercase letter L. So this is line L, and we have been given a point, and it's the point A, and you'll see that it's a good distance above our line L. So we are to construct a line that's going to be parallel to this one. So let's check that we remember the keyword definition for parallel. It means that the distance between the two lines will be the same at all parts of measurement. So it's going to appear up here, it's going to pass through this point, and if we measured here to here, here to here, it's going to have the same distance. So the two lines are going to be parallel. So like with all constructions, the first thing we do is we draw a little sketch showing us what we think the end result will look like, and that's going to act as a guide. So there's my sketch. So we know that the line that we're going to create, so we're going to give it its own name. It can't be the same as the one that's already there. So I've gone with M. Remember, it must be a lowercase, a small letter. And it has to run through the point that we have been given, so through the point A, and it's parallel to L. So the measurement between will be the same all the way along. So this rough sketch is I have not used anything other than a straight edge just to show that they're straight lines. And that's just going to help me then when I produce the actual construction to check that it will look like that. So like with construction 4, we're going to be making use of the 90-degree angle that's on our set squares. It doesn't matter which set square that we'll be using. So I'm going to be using the 45, 45 and 90-degree set square. What's important is that we yet again line up the bottom of our set square with the line that's been given, so line L. And we're going to have to be as accurate as we can be, as constructions need to be really perfect. Now, not only are we lining up the bottom of our protractor, but we want the pencil, when we draw along the other edge, to go through our point A. So I've really lined it up as well at the top here, but making sure that there's enough space there for the pencil to go beside the edge of the set square. So once I'm happy with that position, then I'm going to draw my first construction line. So to create the parallel line, we are first going to actually construct workings which are perpendicular, so at 90 degrees. Okay, so that's what we have so far. Next, we're going to turn our set square again and once more make use of the right angle, the 90-degree corner. So this time I'm going to be aligning the edge of my set square with our new perpendicular construction line, and yet again the point A, but this time right at the top of my vertex, where I can then draw my line across this edge, and that will effectively be the beginnings of our parallel line. So once we take it away, you'll see that we do have a parallel, but we haven't got a line yet because it ends at our point A here. That means it's actually a ray. So what we must now do is again use our straight edge once more, it doesn't matter which edge, and just continue on the line so that it goes beyond the point A and is therefore a line and not a ray. Okay, so now we have continued on our line, and I must notate it using a different lowercase letter than the one that was given in the question. And I've also indicated our 2 right angles that were used to help us to construct this parallel line. And the very last thing then is that we will put arrows on both of the lines, again, therefore explaining that the two are indeed parallel. And that's it. Don't forget that the construction lines are very important. They're part of the construction, so we would never rub out. So we would not rub this line out. In fact, if you did, you would end up losing marks. So make sure that your entire diagram then, your construction, looks exactly like this. Your first letter to write down is the letter L. So method 2 is using the protractor. So once again, we would always conduct a sketch, a little rough drawing, not to scale, but giving us an idea of what we're going to be ending up with. So this time, the original line is S, and our point that our parallel line has to pass through is B. And we're going to be using our protractor. Now, the protractor method also requires a set square for the first part, and that's to create the perpendicular construction mark the same as in the previous method. So we'll do that first. Line up the bottom of your set square so that the right angle then is going to help us create this 90 degrees up to the point, and we're going to draw our pencil line passing through at 90-degree angle. Once we have our perpendicular line then this is where we would line up our point that's been given, so our point B, with the center mark of our protractor. So that means that make sure the exact cross in the center there is exactly in line with our point. And the baseline of our protractor is exactly on top of the perpendicular construction line that we just created. Now from there then, we will be able to count up from the 0 that our construction line passes through. So if you look down, the 0 is here. So we're going to be counting up from 0 to 90 degrees. And where the 90 is then, we'll make a little mark with our pencil before taking it away, and then we can use our straight edge again, our set square again, then to connect our given point with that second point that's required to draw a line. Remember that the line must not end at either one of our endpoints, so we'll continue through both, and then we must label our new point as an important part of the construction. Another capital letter, but not the one that we've already got, so I will give it the letter C. As before, I've just indicated my corners are 90 degrees. There wasn't much space here, so I've just put it on the other side there and made sure that we have our arrows on both lines. And lastly, make sure that you label your line, and there we have it, a lowercase t. So 2 methods, purely with the set square or the set square and protractor. And you can then use the opposite tool to help you to verify your construction. And we know that verify means to check. So for the one where I used a protractor here, I can check using my set square by lining up the 2 edges, and they should fit perfectly inside as they do. So there we see it's definitely 90 degrees, and we know already from the 90 degrees down here, but if we like, we can also check with the protractor, and you see there it's 90 degrees too. And then for method 1 again, we can check that we had 90 degrees here. There we go, spot on. And also 90 degrees on this direction too. There we have it. Our 2 ways, methods of constructing a line that's parallel to a given line through a given point. Construction 5. Your second letter to write down is the letter V. This animation shows you how that you can do this construction using a compass and a straight edge. First of all, you're going to draw a line which goes through the given point, the required point. So in this case, it's the letter C. And it's going to go through that point and through the given line. Now it needs to go at an angle which will create an acute angle. So something like this. Okay, and this is where you will then get your compass out. And you're going to open up the width so it's less than the distance between those 2 points. The D, the point where you passed that line through, the line M, and the point that's at the top that we require our parallel line to go through. Once you've opened it up, you're going to sweep across then both of our two lines, and that's creating 2 points. Important points must be labelled. In this case, they've just given them X and Y. Now, without changing the compass width, and this is the part that a lot of students forget, so it's quite challenging, so be sure to be paying attention. You would put the point on the required point in the question, so the point where our parallel line must go through. And yet again, you are going to sweep across, passing the line that we've created, but also across and down lower than where we think it might be parallel with C. So parallel with C is probably somewhere around here, parallel to the line. So we're going to sweep lower than it. So you might even come all the way down here. We don't want to intersect with this arc because that gets quite confusing, but we need it to go low and we need it to pass this line as well. Okay, so once we've done that, this is the important part. We're now going to have to change the compass, and for the first time, we have to change it to an exact measurement. We have to put the point on one of these 2 points that we've created earlier. So in this case, they've put the point on X, and then you must put the pencil then on Y, on the other one. So you're going to open it to the exact width from this to this. Once you have done that, then you're going to lift up your compass and put the point right at the top at where you had created this last arc and had crossed our initial construction line. And once you've put your point on there, you can arch around and you'll end up intersecting this top arc, looking something like this. Now that intersection there, if we connect it with the original C, it's going to be perfectly parallel with the line at the bottom, line M. Again, any points of intersection that are important need to be labelled. Going to use our straight edge to go all the way through. It can't end at any of those points, otherwise it's not a line. And so there's just a couple of things missing from this. The arrows to show that they are parallel. Label the line with a new letter, a lowercase letter that's not the same as this one, so not an M. And then we have 2 points that should be labelled as well. And again, any letter that's a capital, but not the ones we've already got. So maybe E and F, S and T, it's totally up to you. And that is how to do it with a compass and a straight edge. There's a recap on the steps using just the set square. And I would like you please to now pause the video, use the steps, and to create an example in your notes copy for method 1 using a set square. Okay, and here is a reminder of how to produce construction 5 with a protractor and a set square. And again, I would like you to pause the video and once more produce an example in your notes copy on how to create the construction using method 2. Just for fun, what does Miss Foley call her friends? Her algebros.